one piece of advice that I would give to Janelle in this situation is never let your husband or person you're in a relationship with diminish your level of involvement by treating you like an employee. When I watched season 17, episode 14 of Sister Wives, it seemed to me that Kody and Robyn were treating Janelle as though she was actually an employee of the family as opposed to a working, functional member and partner in the family. Like, if you are a member of the family, then your concerns, if you're a partner, your concerns should be just as important as everybody else's concerns. In this issue, Kody sat there and tried to make it seem as though he was more concerned with everything that was happening to him. And these are the things that we need to talk about in order for us to move forward, because these things affect me. However, the things that affect you, those are things that we can push to the side, things we can talk about later. Oh, we were about to have a really deep conversation and it stopped because Janelle had to leave. No, you were having a really deep conversation to you. We're dealing with your fifis and your feelings. Janelle wanted to have a conversation about things she needed in order to survive. There's a difference between wants and needs. You want to have a good life. You want to be able to have a happy situation. You want to be able to have a happy home and a happy movement and interaction between you, your kids, and your wives. However, Janelle needed a place to stay. She needs shelter. And what she was talking to Kody about was having the possibility of building a shelter on Coyote Pass. You know, the very plot and the land that they actually moved to Arizona for. They left Las Vegas with the intent and the purpose of building on Coyote Pass so that the family can reconnect and have a central base that the family can all stay together and be together. Janelle was the only person who was desperately trying to get on that property, and desperately trying to get on that property by her actions, not by what she said. There's a point where I think everybody is, a couple people have pointed to me where Robyn has said she wanted to move to Coyote Pass. She was committed to going. She says a lot of things. But the proof is in the pudding. The proof is in the action. Janelle bought a fifth wheel so that she can move out to the property so that she can kind of force people to move along and move the property forward. Janelle has been constantly talking about going to the property. Janelle didn't purchase a home in Arizona because she didn't want to take away resources where she could be building, using those resources to build on Coyote Pass. Janelle has been playing the game the way the game was laid out. She was doing it by the rules. She invested in the family. I don't think anybody can make the claim or the assertion that Janelle wasn't 100% bought into the family and the family dream. Janelle put her money where her mouth was. And because of that, and because she invested in somebody who wasn't worth the investment, Janelle found herself at the losing end of that investment. We watched the first instance where all the family that was left, Robyn, Mary, Janelle, and Kody, they all gathered at Mary's house. Robyn pulls up by herself. Mary obviously is there. And then suspiciously, Kody and Janelle show up. Now, the whole purpose and ploy of them getting Janelle there was so that they could talk about her building her property. What this actually turned into was a coach. She got coached. She was being disciplined by her employers for her behavior. And that's one of the things that kept coming up when Kody was talking about Christine and he was talking about Janelle and his discomfort and his problems with them. It all came down to their behavior. So they were misbehaving. And Christine, she said she didn't like it. Oh, that burned her up when he said that because of her behavior, she was getting the short end of the stick. That's what a boss does to you. If you are misbehaving at work, the boss will give you some kind of disciplinary action for your behavior, and he will coach you to improve your behavior and your performance on the job. So when they pull up, they finagled Janelle to the house. Kody made sure he rode with her to get her to the house so that she could be sure that she showed up. When she gets there and they open up the floor and she starts talking, you guys want to see my house? Kody immediately jumps in with, hey, have you guys seen this land that I've shown you 50 other times and we've actually had whole arguments about? Have you seen this subdivision? Of course they've seen it. You know they've seen it. Why would you pretend like they're unfamiliar with it or something that you just came up with? You had a whole disagreement with it. Technically, if not for COVID, that would have been the reason why you lost your wife, Christine. So they've seen it. Remember, she walked off, I can't do this no more. I can't do marriage with Kody no more. That was all because of that damn property divide. So yeah, they've seen it before. But he went ahead with it anyway. And this is where it gets tricky, because at the end of the day, it's not about the history that you share with somebody, but it's how they treat you and how they regard you. You guys can start off in place A and then wind up in place 43. And it has nothing to do with where you start, it's where you are. So when Janelle was looking at this investment and she was looking at moving forward the family, I think that a lot of her decision was based on how the family used to operate and how they used to function. But the truth of the matter is that the family is completely different today than it is from yesterday. I'm going to, just as an aside, I'm going to do a recap of some of the previous episodes, starting with season 1, episode 1. So look forward to that. Bottom line, never let anybody diminish who you are and the value that you bring to the relationship. You're not an employee, you're an equal partner. This is part of the reason why I think Kody wants to move so heavily to patriarchy. For Kody, patriarchy isn't necessarily Kody being the leader as much as Kody being the boss. Kody just wants to tell people what to do. He doesn't want to have any responsibility, because that's part of being a leader. If you're a leader, you're not only instructing people what to do, but you're also taking full responsibility if your decisions turn out bad, good, bad, or indifferent. You don't just get the credit, you also get the blame. That's being a leader. Kody doesn't want to be a leader. Kody wants to be a boss. He wants to tell you what to do and you just do it without question, without any backpedaling, without any slow stepping or whatever the case may be. That's where Kody is. And that's how he's treating Janelle. When he tells her he wanted her to buy Christine's house, he wasn't asking her. He wasn't looking out for the family. He was looking out for his own best interest, the things that he wanted her to do. And when she refused to do it, then all of a sudden there's a problem. And that because she refused to do it, he's going to bring her into the meeting and she's going to get coached. When she's still having contact with Christine, somebody who he forbade her to have contact with, not necessarily expressly, but certainly implicitly, he forbade her to have contact with Christine. She's still talking to Christine. You're going to come to this meeting and we're going to coach you. Now, when you have these types of meeting at an employee, because again, I'm looking at it through the lens of an employer versus employee perspective. When you have these type of discussions with your employees, it typically breaks down into 4 categories. The first category, of course, is the conversation category. This is where the boss and the employee kind of have a talk and they try to figure out what's what. And hey, tell me what's going on. What's happening on the floor? What's happening in the office? What issues do you see? What are these? What are you doing about it? What are you working on? These are conversations that your boss may have with you. If you look at moving on to a second category, you may have an information gathering meeting. And the information gathering meeting is just basically where the boss sees an issue or a problem and they try to find out what is happening and what your perspective is as a person who's on the floor or on the front lines and dealing with that issue. What do you think is going on? What is happening? How are you addressing it, etc., etc. This is that information gathering part of the meeting. Third, you have the informative part of the meeting where they're informing you that these are the rules, these are the guidelines, these are the processes and procedures that I want to use or implement to use to move forward. You're hanging out with Christine, you got to stop hanging out with Christine. You're messing the family up. You're not coming around, you're not relying on me, you're trying to get your own sense of independence. That's not going to work for the family, so I need you to be more reliant on the family. That's where he got the whole thing where Gabriel and Garrison need to come to me to apologize, because he's trying to make sure that they're staying reliant on the family and on him, because that's the source of his control. Now, the next meeting that they had, after that meeting kind of fell apart and Janelle said, okay, well, fine, forget it. I'm going to go pick up my daughter. And then Kody's like, oh, I guess we can't see your plans then, trying to hook her back in. And, oh, well, it's your fault that we didn't see your plans and you can't move forward on your property. Janelle comes back and shows the plans anyway. I thought that was funny. But this next meeting that they had weeks later was at was at Mary's house. And this was actually the fourth type of meeting that you would have in an employee-employer relationship. This is the meeting where the employer is putting it on the line. This is what we call a D-Day meeting. It's a decision day. It's a disciplinary meeting. This is where, I'm going to say that you did something wrong. Here, I'm going to lay it out because we've already had the informative meeting where I told you what the rules were. You broke the rules. You broke the process. You broke the procedure. Now we're going to have the next meeting, which is the disciplinary meeting because you didn't follow the rules. And in this disciplinary meeting, I have to decide what you have to do in order to correct your behavior and fix this situation. You have a decision on whether you want to work here anymore or whether you want to continue to be here or be a part of the organization or the family. And I have to make a decision on whether I want to have you part of the organization and part of the family. This is the boss-subordinate relationship. And this is where if you walk off on this, this ain't one you want to walk off on, Janelle. Basically, you don't quit because I'll see it as you quitting. And this will be a termination. So you have that in there, which is baked into the cake where all of a sudden he can decide whether the relationship continues or not, which is funny because they had spent that whole time in Christine's house saying that there's no way you can get a divorce unless you get approval from the church and have 15 meetings and you have to go to counseling and all this other stuff. Apparently, Kody can forego all that by simply saying if you walk off the job, I consider that quitting or your resignation, you tendering your resignation. So it's a employer-employee relationship. Now, another example of how Kody treats these women as though they are employees is something that he said to Christine. When he was sitting on Christine's porch and arguing with her, he wasn't just sending a message to Christine. Any time that he talked to Christine about Christine leaving, he's sending a message to all the other wives. Because what he said was, you are so focused on the man that you're not looking at the big picture. Where else do you hear that at? Where else do you hear that? That's something that you do when you're trying to get a job or you're trying to keep a job or you're trying to get promoted. When you are working at a job, you're looking at the big picture. You're not looking at whether you get along with your coworkers or whether you get along with your boss or your supervisor. You're looking at whether you are contributing to the big picture of the company to move the company forward, whether to make money, grow the company, or protect the company. Those are things that you do as an employee. Like, for instance, if you go for a job interview, you say, if I get this job, oh man, I'm going to have so-and-so many days off. I'm going to have sick pay. I'm going to have insurance. I'm going to have, it'd be great for my career. It'll be a next step for my evolution in my professional career and professional aspirations. I'll achieve certain objectives by doing this, and then I could move on to and my life will be so much better if I get this job. If you walk into the job interview and you tell a person, well, why do you want this job? What makes you interested in this company or this position? And you give that as a reason, you are not getting the job. Why are you not getting the job? Because at the end of the day, the person interviewing you, the person who's going to be your boss, only cares about one thing. How do you make my life easier? How are you going to answer or solve my problem? I'm not here to solve your problem. I'm not here to make your life better. You're here to make my life better. And that's how an employer looks at an employee. When you go for a job, I don't give a damn about your hopes, your dreams, your aspirations. You are here to help me with my hopes, my dreams, and my aspirations. Things I want to do. If you're talking to the CEO of the company, you have to talk to him with regard to how you can help him grow his business, how you can help him make money or protect the money that he has. He doesn't care that, you're a good person. He cares about whether you can do the job, and the job is whether you can make me money. And that's where Kody is. Kody doesn't see you're worried about the man and you're worried about having a relationship with the man and you're not thinking of the big picture. The big picture is you're not contributing to the family to help the family grow, which is me. Because you are interchangeable with the family as far as Kody is concerned. If you are helping him, you're helping the family. If you help me live in a big house and have a nice go on vacations and have 15 cars sitting in front of my house, then you're helping the family. But you're worried about having a relationship with me and not worried about having a relationship with the family. What are you talking about? Because we're talking about a marriage. These are supposed to be your wives. So if you are a wife and this is a marriage situation, then yes, your relationship with your wives is the big picture. There is no big picture without that commitment in that relationship. So that's my take on this situation. I encourage you guys to think about things from regard of don't allow people to diminish your position within your relationships. If you are in part of a marriage, or you're dating someone, a friendship, or even a mother-daughter, sibling relationship, don't allow people to diminish your contributions to that relationship. Because once they start to diminish you and start to lower your position within the relationship, it makes it easier for them to take advantage of you and use you. Because at the end of the day, as an employee, you have to understand that you are being used. You're using them too. You're getting paid, and you're getting money, and you'll be able to advance your life and get things that you want. So you're using them too. But understand that you're allowing yourself to be used by your employer because you're making their dreams come true. If you work for a big company, when you are working on a holiday or your kid's birthday, you missing graduations, they're sitting at their house, they're sitting at their vacation home, they're on vacation with their family. There's no CEO in the world that gets up from Christmas and walk down to go check on what's happening in the store, in the office. He's home with his family. And he's living very comfortably 9 times out of 10, or she's living very comfortably 9 times out of 10. So you have to take that into account. Don't let people use you. If you're a part of a relationship, be committed to that relationship. Give yourself 100% to that relationship. But make sure that the people that you are committing to and the people that you are contributing to are giving you just as much as you are giving them. You want to make sure that they are worth your time and investment. That's my take. I'm James. This has been my take on reality. And I'm out. 'Cause I've been living life right like